We have all been saying it for years. All roads lead to Obama. What was once speculation of the obvious has sent the lunatic left scrambling.
It's so disappointing to look at what we're seeing from right-wing media these days, where there's such an obsession with the deep state and these revelations about the Russia probe and the decision about Michael Flynn. They're treating the Michael Flynn story like it's a bigger deal than the deaths of 2,000 Americans a day.
You know, there are all kinds of conspiracy theories about how he was entrapped.
The FBI agents didn't do anything wrong here. So I think that's important because there are a lot of sort of conspiracy theories.
They all work together, and, you know, the Fox News people in the White House fuel these sort of rumors.
Do they send these around with fax machines? They come up with these conspiracy theories and they send them around on fax machines.
They should just knock it off and realize that their ridiculous conspiracy theories are going to be knocked down.
Stop with the conspiracy theories.
When history looks back on this decision, how do you think it will be written?
Well, history's written by the winner, so it largely depends on who's writing the history.
I was struck, Peggy, by the cynicism of the answer. It's a correct answer, but he's the Attorney General. He didn't make the case that he was upholding the rule of law.
When history looks back on this decision, how do you think it will be written?
Well, history's written by the winner, so it largely depends on who's writing the history. But I think a fair history would say it was a good decision because it upheld the rule of law.
The news over the last 24 hours, I think, has been somewhat downplayed about the Justice Department dropping charges against Michael Flynn. And the fact that there is no precedent that anybody can find for someone who's been charged with perjury getting off scot-free. That's the kind of stuff where you begin to get worried that basic, not just institutional norms, but our basic understanding of rule of law is at risk.
He says, and if you don't do it, I will. And then later says, I've got my pen and my phone, and if you don't act, I will. Those who agree with the president's policies can sit back and say, well, I don't need to enter into tough negotiations about what needs to be done to enforce the law or to reform the law. And instead, I'll just wait for the president to act.
The rule of law is not before the government could do something, we must find some not completely absurd interpretation of existing law that allows us to do it, but actually looking to the law first, figuring out what does the law say objectively, and then figuring out whether you could do it, what you could do, not putting the cart before the horse, so to speak.
The release of real evidence from the Department of Justice tying Obama to the coup of the next administration had always been slowly seeping out.
Those texts, totally candid, unvarnished, have just raised an awful lot of questions.
Republican Senator Ron Johnson's Government Oversight Committee released an interim report including the FBI text messages that draw a new connection